What's up, guys? I'm Vortac, and we are in Surviving Mars. Paradox was kind enough to give me an early copy, so a huge thanks to them. And since this is coming out on Steam today, I wanted to give you guys, if you needed it, a quick rundown of how to get started in the game. I'm no expert, but I can definitely get you on your way, which is something I really needed at the start of my experience in the game. So we are going to hit New Game, and I'm going to show you kind of the quick breakdown. We're going to stick to a really easy mode in the game, and I'm sure you guys will have a lot of fun tinkering with all this stuff yourself. So the first screen you're greeted with when starting a new game is this. You get the little logo here, and that's the first thing you can actually change. Actually, the first thing you change your mission sponsor. We're going to go with good old US of A. It is an easy difficulty. You get $8 billion in funding, a pretty good amount of research per soul, which is a Mars day, and 100 starting applicants. All of these have different criteria and get harder as you go down the list. The commander profile is set to rocket scientist right now. I'm not going to read all of these. I'm going to tell you, though, right now, if you want a nice, easy experience for your first time, the inventor is fantastic. You get drones gradually optimized to work to construct faster. Drones build everything. And then you get the autonomous hubs, which means drone hubs, the things that the drones use to charge, no longer require power or maintenance. And you'll find out pretty quickly that's insanely important. The colony logo is pretty fun. You'll notice that some of these look like some callbacks to other things. This looks a lot like the Futurama logo, and it's called Mars Express. A little bit suspicious. There's all kinds of different things in here that kind of call back to, I don't know. I think there's some content creators that are represented in here. I don't know all the history. We're going to go with Curiosity. This is the rover in the game. And then the mystery is just kind of a fun addition here. It just adds to the difficulty, and you can see your difficulty bonus changing at the top there as you kind of pick your mystery. Let's do Beyond Earth, because again, it's easy. It's all over. Everything has not been invented. The human adventure's just beginning. So there you go. We have our funding, we have our research, and we have our starting applicants. And if we hit next, we'll come into here. This is my ship with its fancy skin. And this looks very daunting at first. And when I first saw this, I'm like, no, I'm out. There's way too much here. But all this is what you're going to land with. And if you've never played the game before, this is rather ridiculous. You don't really know what you're doing in the screen. This is a very easy setup right now. What I recommend the first time you play, just leave this. Just leave it all as is. The next time around, I actually did make changes when I came back and played a second time. I'm going to leave it for now. But yeah, you don't need to worry about that off just the first time you're playing. You'll play this a lot. You'll find you'll go through plenty of playthroughs. Trust me. And then you can pick your landing site. Now you can pretty much choose anywhere on the surface. I like these little pre-designated spots, and you can just kind of evaluate the threats versus the amount of resources. I can tell you right now, I had a huge problem with metal when I played, so I'm going to go ahead and find somewhere that has nice bits of metal. Okay, we have max metal and concrete, and a good bit of water, and meteors will be semi-frequent, but otherwise we're not going to be greeted by too many threats. And plus, we're on easy mode. I mean, come on, we can handle it. Let's hit start. And welcome to Mars. Everyone in Mission Control is impatient to see the rocket touching down and unloading its precious cargo. Our remotely controlled eyes and hands on the red planet. The drones and rovers. Our goal is to secure a foothold for humanity by building the first Martian dome. This daunting endeavor will allow the brave pioneers, the founders, to settle on Mars and prove that the colony is sustainable. But until then, we have to make sure the colony has enough construction resources, water, oxygen, and power. So that's basically your goal. And this is where you start to feel like the game brings in games you've seen before, such as City Skylines, which is another Paradox game, and RimWorld, which is one I really like to compare this game to. So this blinking thing right here is our rocket ship full of all the things we just stuffed in it. And we get to choose a designated landing zone. But before I pick my landing zone, it's probably good to use my orbital probe and figure out where on the map I want to land. I'll explain these little yellow dots here hidden behind the hints in just a moment. This has already been discovered for us. I'm going to take the orbital probes, and I'm going to probe here because it's nice and flat. And here. Okay, this is a good spot. We have water, we have some metals, and we have some anomalies, and we also have some rare metal and some concrete. This is a really good spot. And now I'm not going to lie to you guys, I've actually played on the same exact drop zone before because I'm playing this on my Twitch channel. If you're interested, twitch.tv/Vortac. At the time I'm uploading this, I may actually be live right now. So if you want to ask me questions directly, twitch.tv/Vortac. Let's land our ship in the area we just discovered. And this is going to get us started. Now, my goal in this video is to kind of get you guys on your path to generating your first dome and getting your first settlers on the planet. From there, it's up to you. This game just takes a lot of experimentation. There's a lot I could sit here and ramble about and tell you, but really, it's just one of those games where you have to play and you just get a feel for it. So I'm just going to kind of show you how I like to get started and let you guys take off from there. All right, so our rocket is unloading its cargo. And first out is the rover, and it's full of drones. Second, we have the explorer. It's going to get anomalies for us. And we have our transport ship. These are very handy. I end up having many of these while I play. And then the ship itself is loaded with polymers, electronics, machine parts. These are rare materials you end up getting later on, so you want to conserve these early on in the game. And the drones have just exited the rover. They are going to want to start unloading your rocket ship, but they can't really do that yet until you designate a place to put the stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start us off with a stockpile. Now, and those are going to be in storages. These are all depots. I'm going to refer to them as stockpiles, though, because I play a lot of RimWorld. A universal depot is a really good place to start because everything can go in it. It just doesn't hold a lot. You'll want to start designating all the different ones as you go on and as you find different places next to your things and stuff. We're going to put a universal stockpile right here near the rocket. And the drones will slowly start unpacking. I play this game in high speed a lot, so I'm just going to let them do their thing. Now, while they're doing that, like any strategy game, you're going to want to keep busy. So I'm going to take our explorer here and explore what's called an anomaly. Now, an anomaly is what it sounds like. It's an anomaly on the surface of Mars that we need to learn more about. So these guys can scan these things. And as they scan them, they unlock research. So I'm going to go over to the research tab and show you guys. Now, every time you play the game, you'll notice the research changes on you, and it kind of bugs you because every run ends up different in that way. But to be fair, on the left side, it's all going to be the easy stuff, the stuff you should start out with, but it's going to be jumbled every playthrough. And then as you go down the line, it's going to get more, like, progressively more advanced. So that much hasn't changed, but I can tell you right now, the last time I played, the autonomous sensors, for example, were not in this slot, which is kind of interesting. So I need to start choosing research. It's good to do this right away, and I want to figure out what's going to help me right now. Like, you can queue up to 5 things, so we can get just about all these things in the queue. I think, just because I know the game already, I can tell you right now, fuel compression is nice because we're going to be calling rockets back from Earth quite a bit. So I'm going to get that first because it's a pretty good one to start with, and it's going to be 1,000 research points. We're getting 300 a soul right now, so that's okay. And there, you can see there's lots of different ways to get more research. And then we could do drone swarm. Drone hubs are constructed with an additional 2 drones. The autonomous sensor no longer requires power. These are good to have, and they just run constantly. So let's put that in there. Productivity training will give engineers and geologists plus 10 performance. You'll use these guys a lot, so it's good to have that early on. It looks like there's a breakthrough here, but we already have that. That was our perk from being an inventor, so it's already researched. That's why it's kind of grayed out like that. Now, I could select the other 2 researches because they're there, but I'm not going to because soon, very soon, we're going to unlock more and more and more. So I want to see what else is, on the list. It is very tempting to skip around that research menu, by the way. I recommend you don't do that because I did that in my first playthrough. Ultimately, I failed. So I recommend get the early stuff done no matter how tempting the late game stuff seems, because you can kind of get into the late game research early in the game, and it's a little bit confusing. I'm going to take our transport here while these guys are still unloading, and I'm going to have it get some of these random metals that are on the ground.
Anomaly analyzed.
There we go. There's an anomaly analyzed. We have new tech available in the research. And see, as you can see, we got 2 more things to research. Advanced Martian engines, which means the shuttles and rockets require less fuel. Very helpful. And then low-G hydrosynthesis, the polymer factory we can create. We can order these from Earth, and you'll learn that later on with a few buildings. There's some you can prefab and select from Earth. I find it really cheap and easy to do that, so I tend not to research these early on. But fuel? Yes. If we want to import stuff from Earth, we should probably have more fuel. Okay, so we're going to grab some metal with the transport, and since we get so much metal, like look at all this. There's metal here, 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 here. I'm going to make a separate stockpile for metal. And we're going to put it just next to our universal one. It needs to be within reach. So let's do that. And our carrier here, our transport, can hold up to 30. So we're going to let it fill up, and we're going to keep gathering until it hits 30, dump it. And right now at this stage in the game, all we're doing is just getting the base resources. And you may be looking at this and go, well, okay, how do I get the dome though? My goal is to get a dome and get people on Mars. How am I supposed to do that? It kind of just starts with stockpiling for a bit. This rocket will be empty in no time. You can actually speed this up by taking your transport and having it empty the rocket, but the drone's got it. They're good. They already kind of know what to do. And now that we've done that, I start to think, okay, well, what's next? What can I do to kind of like work towards that goal? I have a lot of metal around, and it looks like we have a lot of advanced stuff. So what do I need to do to get that dome? Let's get this metal. The first thing you're going to want to get is power, because to get like stuff like concrete, you need a special thing, and it's going to require power. Hey. So we're going to go into our power, and we see here large solar panels, wind turbines, and little solar panels. We also came equipped with 2 Stirling generators. This was prefabbed on the ship, so these don't cost any materials to get now. We already have them. They just need to be placed somewhere. Power accumulator, that's a battery. Pretty obvious. And then we have power cables and switches. So I'm going to go with solar power. And large solar panels are so cheap. 4 metal a piece, 1 metal to maintain. They provide a lot of power. And I can tell you right out of the gate, you're probably just going to want to go ahead and get yourself a good surplus of power early on. So let's put out here just a nice little neatly organized field with some power in it. We're going to do those 3 panels, and we're going to do, I think we'll just do these 2 Stirling generators. So they're going to quickly prefab those. See, cost no materials. They just go right up. And then when we plugged into something, we'll get that in a minute. And they're going to go and grab whatever they need to make these solar panels. They're going to look for metal, but there is none. Luckily, our transport has a full pickup bed full. We're going to dump it right here in the special metal stockpile. Time is sped up, so it'll get there pretty quick. And while I'm waiting on that, I could be getting power cables connecting all this. Now, power cables, they seem a little silly, but all you got to do is kind of put them near enough to something. So I make these little zigzag patterns. And as they build the solar panels, you'll notice these little black wires connecting to things. They'll connect to everything. You'll create a nice little power grid. And the last thing I'm going to want to do, it's going to require some of our advanced resources. I'm going to want to make a battery. Now, you can't have the battery right away because you need 3 concrete, and we're trying to get the concrete. So I'm going to designate a battery. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to let them get started on it at least. And we'll get some power run out to it. There we go. So that will connect once it's built. And this patch right here that almost looks like ice a little bit, this is concrete. To get it, very easy. All you have to do is go into production and find yourself a concrete extractor. And you can use middle mouse to kind of just turn this however you want. At first, I was putting these almost right on top of like the middle of these concrete patches, but it's a lot more efficient to put them at the edge, and you can kind of see that bright white part. That's where it's going to pull all of its concrete from. So we're just going to put it right there, and we're going to mine out a good chunk of concrete, and then I'm going to make another one once that spot runs out, and we're going to try to get all this concrete, as much of it as we can. All right, and there it goes. Up, up, up it goes. Oh, I'm slowed down. There we go. 1 concrete extractor, also not plugged into power. Now, as you would imagine, solar energy is only going to work in the daytime, but we do have the Stirling generators, which means that should be more than enough power to get this 1 concrete extractor going. I'm going to take from here, from our power grid, and I'm just going to kind of go out like this and just connect right to it. Now, because this is made of not tiles like you're used to, you're going to notice it's kind of funky to make things look like just a straight line. You'll get used to it. I've seen a lot of complaints about that. People don't really like that it's not square tiles. You get used to it. I like it. I think it adds a fun dynamic to building. So they're going to go ahead and make those wires. Once this thing is going, that's going to be a big chunk of our materials to get to that dome. And I can, of course, still be making good use of my transport by getting even more metals, because they're going through them really fast on the surface there. And that is just going to be a little bit of a waiting game now. We're starting to mine the concrete nearby. And I could have showed you this when I was placing it down. It does tell you just how much you're going to produce based on where you're placing the concrete generator. I mean, when you're just starting out, almost any amount is going to get you where you need to be, because as long as you're close enough, this thing produces a ton of concrete. So wherever you place it's good. And here in a minute, once we get some more materials, I'm going to explain why I chose this location specifically and what that's going to mean for the placement of my dome. A little more on these anomalies while we're waiting to gather stuff. Our explorers here need to be getting those as they pop up. You can get more explorers as time goes on. These anomalies are so good because a lot of them give you a boost in the current research project you're doing. And some of them just unlock new research, and some of them unlock choices you can make that'll give you little benefits, again, towards your research. But you can see I need to get 1,000 points to finish the fuel compression under engineering, and it's almost done as it is. But once I finish researching this anomaly, that's going to be probably a pretty big boost, depending on what that anomaly is. So you want to stay on top of those, because they could really make the difference with what projects you have going. Now, one thing you'll notice are waste rocks. Every time you get concrete, you produce a little bit of waste rock. Later in the game, there's ways to deal with that, but the way you're supposed to at the start is to make some dumping sites. I recommend getting a lot of these. Now, you're going to want to put them kind of close to where your drone commander is. I should be placing the other one, honestly. Again, I'm no expert. Let's put these all in the corner here where I know I'm not going to build in this space. So we'll just get a bunch of dumping stockpiles, and your drones will carry stuff kind of far, all the way from here
complete.
to here.
Analyzed.
And there you go. See how it said research complete first? That's because we gained 1,500 research points. And you can see that already gave us a huge boost in one of our research projects. And we can now research the low G high rise, which is so nice. I love that we got this early on in the game, because I want a dome with a lot more apartment space than we have at the beginning. So that's awesome. Hopefully we can get that done soon. Okay. So again, hopefully I'm not explaining this too fast. Hopefully you guys can keep up with what I'm doing here. I have spent a lot of hours in this game now, so it's been a little bit easier for me to understand what I'm doing. But if you have any questions, you can feel free to, ask them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer those. Get out of here, Hints. I don't need you. All right, let's unload this metal. And we are going to get started on our next goal. We have some power. We have some concrete. We're getting the building materials going. It's about time we start preparing for our dome by getting oxygen and water. You'll find all this stuff under life support. We have here Moxie. This makes oxygen. You'll use these, I think, pretty much most of the game. I don't know if there's a better version of them. I haven't gotten that far myself because I think I've seen something that relates to oxygen. I've never seen anything other than a Moxie. But there are a couple different water methods. Let's start with a Moxie. It takes power, and I'm going to put it nearish to my water. It doesn't have to be near to the water, but it kind of saves you on pipes, because it's good to pipe these things together. I'm going to put the Moxie right here, and I'm going to put an oxygen tank nearby as well. Yeah, here's fine. Okay, so self-explanatory, oxygen tank is going to take a surplus of oxygen, so if anything happens to your Moxie, you should have a nice little backup while your drones run to fix it. So they'll build that once I get a drone hub. You notice those little icons? That's the drone symbol. Our current drone hub is just this little rover, and that is his whole radius. This is as far as they can go, and that is why you come equipped when you land with a drone hub. So where is that going to be? Probably right in infrastructure. Yes, one drone hub, please. Now this will have 4 of its own drones, and you can kind of see the radius is a lot bigger on this guy. Now you want to encompass as much as possible. The reason I'm going to put the dome probably right about here. So I'm going to put this guy probably a little bit south of that, because there's a bunch of empty space south of it, and I can use that for future expansion, and also it'll stay out of the way of the middle of the dome. So I'm going to put it right here. That should be a good spot. And if we move the rover a little bit, our drones we currently have can get close enough to hopefully our stockpile. Or they don't need to be in this case. And if you were building anything that wasn't prefabbed, they'd need to be close enough to a stockpile and then the thing you were building. So here we go. We got a drone hub, and now we have way more range. These drones are getting metal. They're taking it straight from the earth, and they're just going to start building that Moxie. They want to waste no time at all, like I am. And it looks like, ooh, our stockpiles just barely made it in here, which is not good. I kind of screwed the pooch on that one. Let's go ahead and do this. Simple little fix. We could take a universal depot. Yeah, actually, you know what? Heck, everything's starting to go over here. Why don't we move the universal depot all the way over to here? And let's make a new metal depot as well and put it next to it. Doesn't really matter because I'm going to be reorganizing those as time goes on. And I'm going to go ahead and actually, for the sake of making this faster, take this transport, load resources, click the universal stockpile, and select all. And I know these hints keep getting in the way. I should probably just turn them off. That is your tutorial right there. Those hints kind of guide you in a linear fashion towards what you need to be doing to get your dome. But that's why I'm here. That's why you're watching a video, right? Let's unload onto this guy everything we can. There we go. The concrete, the metal, all of it. The metal, they'll move it by themselves if they don't like that it's in a universal pile. In fact, if you don't like that it's in a universal pile, click this, and you can come up here and filter. And we're going to tell it, no metal! And they're going to take a minute to move all that metal. And speaking of moving all the metal, let's load this metal, all of it, as much as we can. And it looks like they already finished the Moxie before, right while we weren't even looking. With our back turn. They finished the Moxie, they finished the tank there, the oxygen tank. It's demanding power. So, alright, not a problem, not a problem. We already have a little bit of a power grid. This will be quite the trek for them, but it'll be worth it to keep the power just out of our way where we're trying to build. So, I'm going to keep this farther away, possibly against the judgment of the better judgment of others. And I'm going to go diagonally like this around the concrete. We're going to come across like this. This is going to create... Actually, this is quite unnecessary. Now that I think about it. Stop! Stop the clock. Hold on. I made a mistake. This is a little bit too ridiculous. It's farther than I thought now that I'm drawing these lines. I'm going to take a minute to kind of reevaluate my decisions in life and try and move this stuff a little bit more... Well, you know what? Here's one problem with this. These mistakes you make. I can get rid of these and get something back. If I go over salvage, it'll give me 2 metal back for the solar panels, but I won't get anything back from the Stirling generators. Oh, I will! Oh, I was wrong. I thought a prefab doesn't give you anything back. However, I don't know how to make those yet, because I ordered them from Earth. I don't have the research for those, so it would still be a waste. Okay. You know what? Because I made a mistake, I get to pay the price for that. My place is going to be just a little bit less ideal in terms of where the wires are going, but it's okay. As long as we get power to this area, I'm fine. Okay, so we have power to our Moxie, and we strategically placed it near this water area because I'm going to go into life support and make a water extractor. Boom, right there. And we're going to also drag power to it. And the last thing I'm going to need is at least 1 water tank. So I've been spending a lot of time moving all of my resources over to where we're doing most of our building. And we got this guy unloading the last of the stockpile, the universal one we put over here. There lies a little bit of metal left behind. We'll get that at some point, I'm sure. And one of the things that the hints will urge you to do earlier on that I kind of passed over because I don't feel like it helps you too much. It just kind of warns you. They give you a sensor tower, or they don't give you one, but they give you the advice to build one. And it does require power. I'm going to put it right on the line here. And what this thing does is kind of tells you if a meteor is impacting you or whatever. It gives you a bit of an early warning. These things get more powerful later on, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they combine with like a meteor defense system. So you kind of use that in conjunction so you know what meteors to shoot down. Could be making that up, but I'm pretty sure that's what their purpose is. You'll be hassled by the hints to make it. I would make it. You know, it's pretty cheap, and I guess it could be somewhat helpful. Depends on how you play the game, I suppose. I haven't found it of too much use, but maybe you'll find some use out of it. Now, we have power, but you'll notice there's pipe symbols above all of these. All these things need to be connected with pipes. You come into here, go into your production, or life support, I'm sorry, and you can connect pipes. Now, obviously, the thing that's getting water from the ground should probably be connected, I don't know, to the water tank so we can store the water somewhere. And then the thing gathering oxygen, I don't know, should probably be connected to the thing that stores it. Right there. And these pipes can look better. I'm just kind of throwing it all together. And what's cool about these pipes is what I can do is actually connect the whole thing with one pipe system, which is really cool. So I can take these pipes right here. I'm taking it from the Moxie, and I'm putting it right... Let's put it right here. And then let's take a pipe from the water tank. I messed up. I don't want this right there. Okay. Let's take another pipe from the water tank and kind of meet right in the middle. We can have water and oxygen traveling on one line of pipe going into a dome, which saves you on a lot of ugliness running around your base. Now, the way I connected these, you don't have to connect it this way. As far as I understand, as long as everything's connected with pipes, it's all part of one central network. Just to keep it straight in my head, I see it as Moxie gets oxygen, puts it in here, oxygen gets put in the pipe network, water extractor gets water, puts it in here, and gets put into the network. But I don't think it really works like that. I think it's just all one big network. I can connect these any way I want, and it should all do the same thing. But the reason I'm talking about networks is because a good early game hint is to put a redundancy of pipes together. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But I am just showing you kind of where this is going. So all these are piped together, everything is happy, and it's only going to generate enough water to fill this tank, and this will only generate enough oxygen to fill this, and there's really no waste in that regard. It's not going to keep mining the water, and again, or not again, I've never said this before, but this does run out. You will run out of water in this source, which is another reason I'm doing some careful planning. So, that's all the basics right there, and we can get our first dome up. The hints will warn you if you're going too fast. When you right-click and you open the domes, you go to make a basic dome. If you're not ready to do this, the hint will pop up. Hey, a little early. They don't breathe or drink anything yet because you haven't given them water or oxygen. Well, we've done that, so we should be good. Now, like the other things, you can kind of rotate this around. I'm going to rotate it like that. Doesn't matter. It's a dome. And I'm going to tell them to build it right here. So there it is, our first dome. And there's a reason I put it where I put it. Right here is a metal resource that we can't mine yet, but we will be able to soon if I get geologists. Same thing here. And then this is rare metals, which we'll need later on. They all need to be in this little area here because I'm sorry. I'm rambling so much. I'm getting my mind jumbled around. You have to have these particular nodes inside the dome radius because people work in the buildings where these mine from. You won't really know that until you go to try and place down, say, a metals extractor, and it complains that it's too far away from a dome. It's not doing that now, but let's find, like, right here, this rare metal. Too far from domes. So certain nodes are too far from domes, whereas others, like the concrete, it doesn't matter how far they are from domes. Same with the water. So when it comes to stuff like this, you definitely want your domes placed with more of these around them. And you'll keep discovering on the map different places to put different domes. You can put a dome anywhere in this area and deal with traveling later. But for me, this was a great starting zone. And speaking of being out on this map, this whole time, I should have been queuing up some research. You also research tiles, and it unlocks different things like more anomalies. And this takes some time, so this whole time I've been playing, I could have been doing that. See how much of a noob I am? I'm still learning myself, but hopefully you guys have learned something. And just a couple more things I want to cover before we head out. Here they go. They are building as fast as they can, or as fast as I'm telling them to. It's so fun to watch these guys build, by the way. I would highly recommend taking a moment to appreciate all the animations in this game if you get a chance. But let's back out. They're building the dome. I'll speed up time. And as this dome constructs, we got to worry about our last little finishing touches before we get our first colonists here on Mars. We have to get the power, the water, and the oxygen we just set up into the dome itself. Not as difficult as it sounds, but I'm going to give you guys a life-saving pro tip.
Milestone achieved.
That will make watching all my rambling nonsense worth it.
We have a water shortage. We have a power shortage.
Yes. Water, power, oxygen shortages. Right as you open up a new dome, don't worry about it. No one lives there yet. And I'm sorry I was talking over that. This little tip I'm about to give you helped me a ton. I'm really thankful. It was actually Upsy in my Twitch chat who told me this, and I'm really thankful for it. At first I didn't understand, but it was worth it. So, as I said earlier, I hooked these pipes up to one little network, and I have one line for oxygen and water sitting right here ready to get connected to the dome. Now, it'd be real easy to come in here and go, all right, cool, all I need is a pipe connecting to the dome, and I have all these pipe inputs right here. I can use any one of those, and I can get water and oxygen with one connection. Done. Just like that. Game over. Go home. Get the people on Mars. Whatever. I'm not going to do that, though. What you want to do is create a redundancy. We're going to create an oxygen and water point on two different sides of the dome here, and
Sector
for good reason.
scanned.
So, I'm going to bring out our pipes to here, and then right about here. That'll be a nice, clean connection. And then I'm going to bring out pipes from the same point out in this direction and connect it right here. And it'll also connect to the tank again because I just passed through that area. It's fine. And here's why I did that. You will have, no doubt, you will have a constant slew of alerts all the time while you're playing, no matter how many domes you get. Pipe leak, pipe leak, pipe leak, pipe leak. You don't want pipe leaks. Pipe leaks not only keep oxygen and water from getting to your dome, let me pause, but they also waste precious water from a resource that will deplete. And that is how I lost my first game. I let so many pipe leaks get away from me. I never addressed them, and my water ran out so much faster than it needed to. It goes so quick. So how do you actually prevent the pipe leak, though? All I did was create two pipes. Wouldn't I just double my chances? Well, there's a little thing I didn't cover called a, where is it? Pipe valve. And you can put these wherever you want on the line here. And what they do is they turn off water flow in that section of pipe. And for them to work, what you need to do, and I'm going to put them like everywhere, what you need to do is hold shift for anything you build, by the way. Good tip. Hold shift, and you can place these in all kinds of spots. And go ahead and put these just along your route up until you reach the dome on both sides. So right here, these can be as long or as short as you want. How about here and here? It seem like natural spots. And I'm also going to put one like right here because the pipe will leak from anywhere. It could be a problem just about anywhere. If I want to be really secure, I could also create another pipe from this source and go into the water tank, but I mean, we have a water tank, so it should always store enough. And we have like 3 different connections coming out of it, so we should be fine. They'll build those for me at high speed. And what you do if you get a pipe leak, say right here, is you turn off this pipe valve and this one until your drones come and repair it. You do have to watch. Let's pretend for a minute that we have a pipe leak right here. I'm going to turn off, you got to click on the top here, or no you don't.
We have
this
an
one?
oxygen shortage.
And this one. And I've just turned off one section. Now this was a bad example because remember we put our main connection right here. If you turn off this one, nobody gets water, or I guess in this case oxygen.
Pipe leak reported.
Pipe leak. See, we already got one. Let me turn this back on. Let me pause. Where is the pipe leak? I want to show you guys this. Are you kidding me? We just built this damn pipe. These are terrible drones that do a terrible job. Hold on. If you click on pipe leak, malfunctioning pipe, it brings you to the area, and I hear it. Where is it? I don't see it. Usually it's a little bit of air kind of spitting out of it. Oh, I see it. It's shooting down. Okay. So that's what I was trying to tell you guys. You get them all the damn time. So the more of these little guys you have here, yes, you risk cutting off oxygen and water to parts of the dome that desperately need it, but you get to prevent yourself from wasting. I'm wasting water and oxygen right now because I can't turn that off. Now I can. What? He didn't. Oh, he didn't finish it. I was like, hey, he was going to give me the button, and he took it away. So right now it's just spitting out, going waste. I could turn it off back here too. Click. Okay, now nothing can get down this direction. And we are no longer, it looks like there's still a leak, but we are no longer legitimately wasting water out of this tank, which is what I'm trying to avoid. So he's working on it. He's working under here to fix that leak. It doesn't take long. Once it's fixed, you just got to be careful because it won't tell you it's fixed. So you just got to watch. And once he's done fixing that, I can come over here. He's not done yet, whatever. I can turn it back on, and we'll be good to go. So, as you noticed, while we were dealing with all that nonsense, the dome is done. And it's time to get our first colonist to Mars once we get a place to live and some other necessities. Now, I don't want to make this video too long, but I'll just get you started real quick in the pause menu to show you some of the good starting buildings. And I just want you to be careful about what you're actually building. Be sure to pay attention that you're not using any of the super valuable limited resources you have, because you can't make any of those yet. You've got to call down a ship from Earth. So if you go into domes, there's a few different categories. This is where you'll find living quarters. We're trying to research apartments. It's not done yet. So let's just stick with the basic living quarters. It costs 10 concrete, and we'll put that right here. So those will house up to 12 colonists. The next thing you want to do is, nursery, playground, school, all these things are kind of optional. The next thing you desperately need, though, is a grocer. This is how they get their food. The grocer will stock from whatever the farmers give them. We haven't even touched on farms yet. It's a whole thing. We'll put that there. And, like I said, farm. So that's actually going to be in life support. Hydroponic farm is the first one you get. There are better ones. Don't stick with the hydroponic farm. I hate it. It's terrible. Does not have a lot of crops, and it has a high failure rate in my experience. But it'll stock the grocery store just fine when you're getting started. And, that's your basic survival right there. But each dome, you'll find, can specialize in certain things. I find that it's good early on to... Oh, you got to get a gym. We want to make sure they can work out. You want to meet their needs, of course. And you want to get like a diner, or the space bar's good, just to meet their like entertainment needs as well. We already have a lot of stuff in this dome, but each dome can kind of, you'll find, specialize in certain things. A research lab will be good if you want to make research happen faster. What else? What else? I think the big stuff kind of comes in later. You can order... You know how I was saying you don't have these materials yet? Polymers, electronics, and machine parts? Those are made by people. So you could either make, with research, or after research, you can make the factories that make those things, or you can order them from Earth by calling down a cargo rocket, going into prefabs and going, oh, okay, I want to make myself machine parts now, and ordering yourself a machine parts factory. All this stuff will go inside, not this stuff, all this stuff will go inside domes, and I guess it's just those two, huh? And you'll need engineers to help with that. So I would highly recommend making your domes specialize in a certain thing, so you have your engineers living in one dome and your botanists living in a farming dome somewhere. I don't want to say too much because I find I ramble a lot. I'm really excited about this game. I love it, and there's so much to tell you. There's so much to explain. But at this stage, right now, when you have your first dome and you have all these construction projects set up, it's best to just play, enjoy the game, and let the hints kind of guide you too if you get lost. They are actually a really helpful guide when you're getting started. So I hope not only you learned something about the game if you bought it and you're like, how do I play? But also if you're thinking about buying the game, I hope this was like a good, quick little, maybe not review, but a quick little introduction for you. Again, I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/Vortac, link down below. There's also my Discord channel and Twitter. And if you guys want to follow me in any of those places, of course, you can subscribe here on YouTube. I appreciate you watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great time in surviving Mars, and I'll catch you next time.